And that's what we want to see. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday night. Welcome back from Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday and that you're in the mindset now that we're just going to have a great holiday. And it's going to just be a wonderful time for us moving forward. Tonight's really special because we're going to be watching a piece of a training done by Katherine Lee, maybe just a couple weeks ago. It was called Level Up. And it works in conjunction with a training that's going to be in Las Vegas in January, the third week of January, that you can attend live or that you'll be able to live stream, and you're going to hear about that. But it's the season to be listening to this kind of training. And I'm going to tell you, what if I told you right now that you could actually build business during the holiday and create momentum as you're wrapping up 2021 into 2022? And I believe that you can have great fun during the holidays and peace, still grow your business and still build some momentum. And I think the first thing that's going to need to happen is that we have to, number one, not just be oozing love for Juice Plus, but I'm going to ask you to put on your professional pride. Your professional pride right now moving through the rest of 2021 into 2022, because it's just time for us to do that. And what we're going to do starting next week is that we're going to kind of reframe the holidays. Okay, because what I can tell you right now, everybody that you meet right now is looking for something. Everybody that you meet right now is looking for hope. All right. There's a lot of hurting people out there. People are looking for better health, but also people are going to be looking for ways to generate income in 2022. So if you put on your professional pride as you move into the holidays, it's going to serve you very, very well. And what we're going to start talking about next week is that what's your job? Your job is not to, blah, Juice Plus on everybody. Your job is to find out what are people's needs, wants, and desires. And that's only going to happen if we get really good at asking questions and positioning ourselves. And that's what we're going to talk about next week. I just wanted it to be a bit of a teaser because next week is going to be good. We're going to talk about conversations when you're at parties. We're going to talk about what you can do. And then we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to tell you right now, I want you to print your preferred customer genealogy, and you're to have a conversation with every one of your customers before the end of the year. And you're going to say to them, when you think of health in 2022, I want you to think of me. Okay. And if you have friends or family that are looking for greater health in 2022, I want you to think of me and Juice Plus. All right. And then you can talk about the perform, but you want to plant that seed now. And one more thing that you want to share with your preferred customers, and I really appreciate and encourage you, they can hear your voice. Is there anyone that you would love to bless this Christmas season with the gift of health? Oh, put it out there. Who would you love to bless this holiday season with the gift of health? So we're putting on our professional pride. Okay, I said all I'm going to want to say. We're 5 minutes in. All right, get ready for the amazing Katherine Lee.
To ask you guys some questions at different times. So keep your fingers ready for the chats because we're going to be going through and talking about change tonight. Anyone ever experienced change? Been forced into change, right? We've all, that's one of those great equalizers in life is change. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Christy, thank you for such a great introduction. It is such a privilege, and I respect Lauren so much for taking this on. It's going to be incredible. So I want to make sure that you can see from my current slide. Christy, are we good?
Okay, good.
Perfect. Well, I want to talk about change because this company, the Juice Plus company, has brought such radical change into my life. It was 26 years ago. So I have been with this company more years than not in my life because I was only 24, just getting ready to turn 25, and I'm getting ready to come up on 27 years with this company. And so been with the company more years than not. But when I first started as a 24-year-old young woman, I had no concept. I'm kind of the opposite of Christy in that she was from corporate America, very successful. I was a 24-year-old with a high school education, just wanting to be home with my kids. I had a friend of mine die really tragically just before this was introduced to me. And when she died, it changed my life forever. I don't know how many of you have ever had a day that changed your life forever, right? Because again, sometimes change is something we choose, and sometimes change is forced upon us. And when Kelly died, that change rocked my world. And I thought, what do I really want out of life? But then I had to face the reality of change itself, and change after now 26 plus years, both in Juice Plus and in personal development. I have studied some of the most successful and had the privilege of working with some of the most successful people in this company and outside of this company. And I've studied change, and I'm going to share with you tonight the core principles of the stages of change. How to identify them, and what do you do to move from one stage to another? Now, as I'm doing this is where I'm going to say you guys could be interactive in the chat. I want you guys to interact. So when I talk about change, here's what's funny to me. Have you ever noticed it's so much easier to notice when someone else needs to change than yourself? It's like they really should change that, right? We can see very clearly where other people need to change, or we at least think that they should change. We'll talk about shoulding in just a little while, but we can see that. So I want you all, please don't type their name. Please don't type their name. But I want you to think about one person that you wish would implement a change in their life. So that's the first thing. Just think of them. Don't type their name. That would be bad. But one person, think of them. And then I want to have you think about you and one area of your life that you would like to change. Maybe you even want to change it. Or you want to, meaning you would really like to change. You really don't want to change, but you would want to change. Maybe it has to do with growing your business. See, when I first started, I just wanted to make $300 to $500 a month with Juice Plus. It made total sense to me that Jetson food would be here. I was a kid. Anybody else in the Jetson area, just put Jetsons, right? I'm going to see how many of you used to watch the Jetsons as a kid. Yeah, so we've got some people. And if you don't know, Cartoon Network is still keeping the Jetsons alive. So even if you're not in that era, if you know what the Jetsons are, yeah, I see you guys are with me. So I knew one day there'd be space age food, right? And little Rosie the robot would just bring it to us on a tray. Well, to me, when I found Juice Plus, that's what it was. So that change was easy. And I love to say it's my favorite 3-second health habit, right? It's the one thing. Juice Plus is for the heathen to the vegan, right? And so yes, we're inspiring healthy living around the world, but healthy living takes change. And I could be anywhere on that spectrum. So everyone is welcome to that 3-second health habit and this incredible community that welcomes everyone to change at their pace. But we're going to talk about the blocks that we see, because in my professional journey, I noticed that I hit these roadblocks just like I do in my personal journey. Some areas of my life I've changed radically and made huge strides. Others is that ongoing struggle. And that was one of the things Oprah and I love to talk about is, why can we change all these other things and we can't change these couple of things? But that's the human condition. So change is one of the things that we all, again, have the same. We all have areas that people look at us and they think we should change or need to change, just like that person you thought of. And we all have areas, everyone that you meet is wishing or desiring some sort of financial, physical, relational change in their life. So I want to clue you into some of the most powerful aspects of the stages of change so we can learn to identify where we are, and maybe from the outside looking in, identify where that person or people that we care about, where they are. Because what this will do for you, what it did for me, is it made me more patient with other people's processes. Wouldn't you like, could anybody say yes? Say yes in the chat if you would like to be more patient with someone else's process, maybe even your own, if that is important to you. So I see some yeses. So I'm talking to the right audience, right? Because we want to be able to do that. So I want you to be able to identify where people are coming from. So in my story, right, this again is a great equalizer. I promise you, this part of my story that I'm getting ready to share is the same for all of us. Okay. All of our stories began with a decision to change. Every single one of us had to make a decision to start that change. So our stories all started with that decision. You know what, I'm going to change. I'm going to add Juice Plus to my diet, or I'm going to sign that application, key in that virtual franchise, and I'm going to choose multiple streams of income. See, now I'm a really smart businesswoman. I have to say, I am a savvy businesswoman now. I've learned a lot through this Juice Plus community and the power of multiple streams of income. Every wealthy person, successful and satisfied person that I met, they all had multiple streams of income. So this is a stream of income. So we can make a decision to start on the product. So can your people. We can make a decision to change, right? That's the frontal lobe of our brain. This is what I point here because that's where that part of your brain is. That's the part of our brain that holds the power to make a choice and make a decision. So when you really acknowledge that you have that power within you to decide to change, it changes everything in perspective. But then you're going to probably go through these stages that we're going to talk about. Before we jump into that, I want to say though, what is our job description as virtual franchise owners? Whether you're like me and you just started because you want to offset the cost of your product and maybe make a few $100s, right? That was my big giant goal. I could not think bigger than $500. But now here we are 26 years later, and obviously I'm making a lot more than that $500 an hour. It has changed the way that I live my life, but it's also the way that I've been able to change how other people live their life with Pure Hope Foundation, which you'll hear a little bit about because this Level Up event is benefiting that nonprofit. And so what an incredible community we're a part of, that our job description makes an impact. No matter what, you don't get paid a penny without having a positive impact on somebody's life when they make a decision to change. But this is, I think our job description comes down to 3 words, and here they are. This is our job description: care, listen, and offer. That's it. We care about people. How do people know you care about them? You listen to them. You're interested in their life. I've always heard, be interested, not interesting. Don't worry about trying to sell them on you or anything else. Just care about them and listen. And I promise you, a need or a desire, jot down those words. If you're a note taker, listen for needs and desires in their life that our product and or our business could fulfill for them or fix for them. So fix, right, a need, and fulfill a desire. But again, remember that takes change. So our job description is to care, to listen, and to offer that solution. We don't have to convince. I always say captivate, don't convince. So offer is like this. This is what I have to offer. I hear you need, I hear you want, I hear you. I have something that I think could match or solve that for you. Here it is. And we get that privilege of offering. And I am so grateful to Wendy Campbell for offering this to my sister-in-law, Kelly, who then offered it to me. It literally was just one woman caring about another woman that cared about another woman. And because of that, my life changed. So does everyone say yes? Question, does everybody you offer to say yes? If any of you say yes to that, I want you training tonight. I have never gotten 100% yes in my entire career. And by the way, anything I do, right? I love Michelle said, nope. That's the perfect answer. Nope. No, not everyone says yes. But what's fascinating is if you plant the seed that you have an agent of change, a tool that can create change, a key that can unlock change. If they're not ready for change, which you're going to be able to identify after you hear this training, if you plant that seed, have that key, become that agent of change, now you are beginning a process for them and moving them through these stages of change. So I think it's important because if they say no, we still care, we still listen, And when it's appropriate, we can circle back around and offer again. But even better than that, go care, listen, and offer to somebody else while you're waiting to circle back around to that person. Because I promise you, circumstances in their life will change that will then, they will be looking at what you have to offer that will implement change in a different way. Okay, really important. So let's talk about the stages of change. This is not original to me, but the way I'm going to teach it, I hope is, and that you'll learn a lot. So I want to go through these stages of change with you real quick. I'm just going to move a couple things around so I can see this. So this stages of change is so powerful if you understand it, especially in light of our business. And remember that person, who were you thinking of? And what about you? What's the circumstance you would like to change? And see if you can think about those two things as we talk about this. So the first stage of change is called pre-contemplation. And pre-contemplation is when somebody is not even thinking about changing their behavior. They have no intention of changing their behavior. Do you know anybody like that, where you look at them and you can see this change would make all the difference? In fact, typically they complain most about the thing they need, should, right? Or somewhere deep inside of them, it would be a great benefit for them to change. And they actually complain about that, but they are not willing to change. Okay, 100%, Victoria said. We all know someone like this. Maybe we are that, but you're not going to probably recognize if you are. But I'm going to give you some ways that you can identify if someone is in this stage of change. It looks like this. They're deaf to the topic that you're talking about. They're defensive, they're in denial, or they're defiant. Okay, really key. Watch for people. Have you ever been with somebody and you're talking to them, they complain about their health, they complain about not having any income. You listen well, you do the ditch the pitch, right? You're really listening, and then you make that offer, right? You extend that offer because you care, and they literally talk about something else. It's like they're literally deaf. They did not hear what you even said. From now on, when that happens, don't try to convince, go inside your head, go, oh, they're in pre-contemplation. They have no intention of changing this behavior, at least as of right now. Or they're defensive. You bring it up. They bring it up. They're complaining or they're concerned. You bring it up, and you bring up an offer, and they're immediately defensive, right? They push back, or they're in denial. La, 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 I eat enough fruits and vegetables. Anyone ever hear that one? Right? That is key. And then defiant is just defensiveness with really strong muscles, right? They literally cross their arms. They're not going to do what you have to say. Now, what is the best antidote to this? And that is to love, listen, and live by example. When people are in this stage, there are no words that you can say to convince them. And I'm certified in conversational intelligence, and that it's literally the neurobiology of communication. And it's taught in my communications course. And when I talk about this, it's neurobiology. If you try to convince this person, all of a sudden, what will happen is literally the brain chemistry that shuts them down is pumping out if you try to convince them at this stage. But if you listen and you love them, meaning you accept them where they are, and you live by example, that is your chance to have them move to the next phase or stage. Okay, so that's how you deal with that. So we'll put that one away, and then we'll talk about the next stage. I bet you more than anything, you'll know more people in this stage than anything else, and it may be you. Now, again, do you see why you may not recognize yourself if you're in pre-contemplation? Because you're deaf, right? But if you start acting defensive, in denial, or defiant, when somebody brings something up, you might want to go, oh man, Katherine just nailed that I'm in pre-contemplation in this area. And that will hopefully move you into contemplation, which means I'm aware that the problem exists, but I have no commitment yet to action. I love to describe this. This is how, just like you could see depth, defensive, denial, and defiant, you can see that in someone. This is what contemplation sounds like. Okay, whenever somebody's in it, this is what they say. Oh, get my mouse going. You'll hear this a lot. Yeah, but. And it's the most dangerous place, because this is where shame can reside. And what this means is people say, yeah, I know, but, and they follow with reasons and excuses, right? The but is where all their focus is, all the barriers is what shows up. And what's hard about this, if you're stuck in this place about your business, about your health, about your relationships, whatever it may be, it's painful because of the acknowledgement. But I want you to give yourself credit that you're acknowledging. And if you hear somebody else here, right, that person that you would like to see change because you know that change would actually bring them great joy and benefit. But if they're saying, yeah, but there's a lot of pain tied to shame when we know there's an area of change, but we're really not sure how. And we're focused again on the but, meaning the barriers that follow that yeah, but. And so how do you get somebody over this? Okay, you move them into what is preparation by, and this is one exercise you can all do tonight. Think of that area. You can facilitate with that person if they've said yeah, but to you. You can say, hey, I just heard this great training. I hope you'll say it's great. And she said that whatever yeah, but comes, that can be super painful. And just to write down what comes, what are the barriers that come after the but, right? What comes next? And let's put a category. What are reasons and what are excuses? I mean, what are real reasons? You guys, when I first started Juice Plus, I literally, it would be Tuesday and we would be out of money in the bank account and out of groceries and no one was getting paid till Friday. So when I found out about Juice Plus, I knew I needed it, but I could have allowed the price to be my yeah, but. Yet my friend had passed away and I knew I needed a change. And so, yes, the barrier was there. Yeah, but my first thought was, I can't afford it. I like to call those life-limiting lies that follow. Those barriers are life-limiting lies. But if we can look and say, is that an excuse or a reason? Well, it felt like a reason until I started asking questions. So our excuses, we can just tear up our excuses and get rid of them. Go, oh my gosh, that's literally just an excuse. But if it's a real reason, you look for other ways to go around that obstacle. And so I asked myself the question, where else in life am I spending $1.50 to $3 a day for the Juice Plus product line that I could have reinvested into my health that's maybe tearing down my health? Is there a way I can reinvest, or is there anybody else I know that could benefit from this nutrition? And by sharing it with them, I can offset the cost of my own. That's how I got started in this business. Is I thought everybody needs Jetson food, and that's how we'll do it. So when you hear that, yeah, but, pay attention, look honestly for yourself and or help that other person move into preparation, which is the next stage, by helping them come up with the plan to overcome their obstacles. Because preparation means I'm intent upon taking an action. I'm willing. So I said, yeah, but at first about Juice Plus, and then I went, I am spending money on things that tear down my health. I'm going to redirect that spending into something that is good for me and good for my family. And I was intent upon taking action, and I found a way. And so preparation is looking at that list and literally creating a concrete plan, not just a concept, oh, I'll find the money. That's a concept. This is super important. If you're kind of tuning in and kids are running around or you're doing dishes, tune in right here. Your heart loves a concept. It gets inspired for a minute. Oh, I'll try. Or I'll make an effort, right? There's even things like love, right? Or I'll do that. That's an inspiration that the heart loves, a concept. But concrete is what the brain needs in order to create it. So concrete answers the question, what would that look like, sound like, feel like? That's how to take a concept to concrete. What would that look like, sound like, and feel like? So for me, it literally was taking my grocery cart and I would put in my normal stuff. This is how concrete I made it at 25 years old. And I would go, wait a second, that isn't good for our health. I'm going to put that back. Well, that's $3.52 for our Juice Plus budget. It got that concrete of a plan for me. I also thought, who else cares about the health of me and my family? And I went to my grandmother And I asked her for a loan because back then you had to pre-purchase Juice Plus and get it to other people. Now we don't even have to do that. We just share it with other people and the company gives them credit. But back then, my grandmother, I said, I know you care about my health and the health of our family. And if I can get some boxes of this Juice Plus and sell it to somebody else, I can afford that. That was concrete. It wasn't, I'll try. That's a concept. So that's what your coaches are for. That's what Lauren is to Christy, and Christy and I are to each other, and Wendy Campbell is to me. And when I first came in to the business, Wendy Campbell was a sales coordinator. She was just revving up into her business and she was doing so phenomenal. I just did whatever she said. So be coachable. If you're taking notes, you want a concept to turn concrete by answering the question, what does that look like, sound like, feel like, and get a coach. Okay, create that concrete plan, because then you can take action. And action is a modification of the behavior. It is doing at least one thing differently. And especially if you can tie it to an anchor habit, meaning you already are doing something, just like I was already buying groceries. And so that became a trigger or an anchor habit to put my new habit, to tie my new habit to. Okay, so Juice Plus, I want to get, it's sitting there, but I'm not always taking it. Okay, I can put it by my toothbrush because every morning and night, right, I brush my teeth. So that's my anchor habit that I'm tying to taking the Juice Plus to. It may be I get on Facebook a few times a day. Well, right before I get on Facebook, I do my follow-up calls, right? So that I can find out if other people are interested in getting on events like this. I loved at the beginning where Christy just made the suggestion, hey, this would be a good time to remind people that you wanted to be on tonight, just to give them that nudge and remind them that you're on and they can join in too. So that's you showing up, and you showing up is a trigger to invite somebody else to show up. So create an action plan and modify a behavior, because an action plan is powerful, but an action plan with accountability changes everything. Okay, I want to show you guys something real quick, because this will set you up for early wins. Set a new change for something that you say, I'm 100% sure that I can do that. So don't say I'm going to call 500 people tomorrow. Could you really do that? The question becomes, are you 100% sure? Is there any hesitation at all? So if there's hesitation, just shift the goal, get an early win. When I worked with the Daniel plan that you heard about in my introduction, this was a huge concept of building early wins for people, for their biology, to get the reward mechanism of completion. And so that's what you want to do. Now look at this. I want to show you guys something powerful in creating your action plan. This would be a great thing for you to know for yourself. So we're going to put a list of actions that are a good action plan that will implement more chance of completion, and completion means change. So here's the actions. You hear an idea. You know, let's go to the Las Vegas event. I hear that idea. I hear let's get started on Juice Plus, or go to a training, or I hear a social media, like Christy said, post and tag on social media and on your story. You hear an idea. Okay, you consciously decide to adopt the idea. So you say, I'm going to do that. That's your commitment. So you're making a conscious decision. You decide when. I'm going to do that within an hour of getting off of this call, because that's when the drawing is going to happen, right? So Christy created an early win for you guys to do this social media post that will create traction for you. Okay, so you decide when. I'm going to do it within an hour. Decide to design a plan to act on that idea. This is the slide I'm going to take a picture of, right? Or I'm going to do this or that. Whatever the actual plan is I'm going to do one post, or I'm going to do 3 posts to up my chances of winning. Whatever it is, design that plan, then commit to another. This is where I want you guys to use that chat again. If you were saying, yes, I'm going to go to the Las Vegas event, and you have not signed up yet, type that out in the chat right now. Because by you saying I'm going to get a ticket, now you are committing to everyone here that says, I'm ready to get a ticket. Now, some of you may have already had, so maybe you're going to share with one more person, because you're going to see the power of accountability. And if 2 or more of you show up to the Las Vegas event, you're going to have more traction. So I hope that if you will add into the chat, I see it, I see that number moving. So yes, I'm going to buy it. I am committing publicly that I am going to either add, offer this. Remember, you're just offering, you're not convincing, but you're going to offer somebody, or you're going to commit yourself to buying that. And then here's the fun thing. And we're going to know for those of you, make a specific appointment to report to another. In other words, when you make that post, we're going to know when you buy your ticket, we're going to go, look, they kept their word, because we see the chat and we're like, wow, they all bought their ticket that said that they would. Okay. But this is what I want you to see, because that's all great concept, but look at the power of the percentage of it, how it goes up as you make this action plan. You hear an idea, you are 10%. You have a 10% chance of completing whatever idea you hear and doing it if you just hear the idea. But if you consciously decide to adopt it, more than doubles your percentage of actually completing whatever it is that you're committing to.
All right. Next week, we're going to start right back there at the action step again, because all of those action points that Katherine talked about, yeah, she was referring to the training in Las Vegas. And write this down. It is going to be the weekend of January 21st and 22nd. You can participate live and go to Las Vegas, or you can you can stream it. And there is, I think it's like $59 or something like that. You can stream it. I'll have information about that on the Team Up page so that you can see how you can participate. Your upline might have something in store for you in terms of a gathering location together. But that's what Katherine's referring to. But before we say goodnight tonight, know that every one of those steps that she shared with us on how to up your probability of being successful applies not just to the Las Vegas boot camp, but applies to everything that you do. And in terms of the Juice Plus business, these action steps can be implemented in goal setting, taking on the goal of hitting QSC or sales coordinator in 2022. When you take those action steps, you're going to intensify your ability to be productive in whatever you decide you want to do. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that tonight with Katherine. We'll see you back next week. Next week's going to be about 10 or 12 minutes with Katherine. Then we're going to talk about prepping and getting ready for the holidays. How does that sound? All right. Good night. I love you all. Peace and blessings.
Night, Terry.